Hi everyone, this is Professor Dozier. I just wanted to put together a quick little tutorial for you as you are working on your final projects, your application project here with your group members. I just wanted to go through some of the project requirements and then show you a few examples from some of my previous classes to see what other students have put together over the years, just to kind of give you an idea of what this can look like and to show you also that there really aren't any limitations on how you can present your work here. So there's lots of different ways to present the campaign that you guys are going to be working on while you're applying our group dynamic principles that you've been learning over the course of the semester. So let's take a look at the directions first. So right underneath of our start here, day one, and the welcome module, you have the module for the group project. So I know you guys have been checking this out, looking at it throughout the semester. I want to point out that you also have an individual assignment that goes along with the group work here. So the individual assignment will give you a chance to do some personal reflection on how it was working with this group and give you some a way to privately kind of discuss just with me, just something that I'm going to see, how some of those dynamics did play out during your time with your group members. Which is always good to do. It's always good to reflect on those things privately as well, because we end up working with a lot of groups during our life. And it's nice to reflect and think about what worked well, what are some things that maybe I could have done a little bit differently, or that I could have done to motivate the group or resolve some things earlier on. So it's always good to do some individual reflection, which is the purpose of that assignment, to kind of get you in the habit of thinking about how groups can be more successful when you reflect back on them. So let's take a look at our directions here. So your group project, the campaign that's being put together is worth 10% of your final grade, and then that individual component is also going to be 10%. And then the point breakdown for the actual project is we're looking for at least 5 peer-reviewed sources. We're looking to see that there's been some clear use of research, some empirical data that's driving the decisions that you've made in the campaign, and that it's creative, right? That it's something that is engaging, because in psychology, we have to engage with the public. We have to make sure that we are motivating them and that we're using some best practices and engagement techniques to make sure that we're getting people's attention, right? If we can't get someone's attention, then they're not going to listen to what we have to say. And that means that we're not going to be able to perhaps modify behavior or predict future behavior. So let's take a look at our guidelines here, just to go over the gist of what we're looking at here. So what we're looking at is a chance for you guys to, again, exemplify some of the things you've been working on by putting them to practice, by putting them to the test in a group setting where you're working on a common goal together. So the task that I've given you, because it is such a prevalent crisis right now, because it is something that is impacting our youth at rates that we've never seen before in terms of depression and anxiety prevalence in this country, is anti-bullying. So that is the topic that I've given you. And your goal here is to create some kind of campaign that's meant to help people change behaviors. And there's a lot of research out there. There's lots of good empirical evidence to show what works better, what works not as good when it comes to getting victims and victimizers to change their behaviors and to reach out for help if they need it. So one of the things here is you have to decide what research you're going to choose, what's going to be the driving force behind the campaign. Is it going to be on the mental health aspects? Is it going to be on social, emotional aspects? Is it going to be a campaign that you are choosing a particular population of interest? So in other words, who are you trying to reach with your campaign? Is it going to be parents of children who are school age? Is it going to be maybe educators? You trying to reach out to teachers so that they can be on the lookout for signs of victimizers or victims of bullying? Is it going to be school administrators who are going to be entrusted with making sure that they manage and mitigate at the broader scale, higher up within a school system? Is it going to be healthcare professionals? Is it going to be teenagers? Is it going to be, maybe even healthcare professionals who may be able to see some signs and symptoms of the effects of bullying in their patients? So you have to kind of decide who is it that you want to reach after you've collected some information on what bullying is and how it impacts youth today. And then it's going to be how you're going to design your campaign to actually lead to behavior change, right? So how are you going to influence whoever it is that is being exposed to your campaign? How are you going to motivate behavior change? What platform are you going to use? Are you going to use social media that can reach more people? Do you really want to target it to a specific school system with some sort of literature or materials that can be given to a school that they can disseminate themselves? Is it going to be something virtual? Is it going to be something? I know right now everything in our world is virtual, but when things eventually go back to not being 100% virtual, would you like it to be a campaign that was more of a face-to-face where you're facilitating some sort of workshops within a school system or within a healthcare setting? And then you have to think, how are group dynamics playing a significant role within the campaign? So that's where your research is going to come in. The literature that you've chosen, your 5 resources, right? So these resources can be peer-reviewed journals from the library database. They can also be documentaries. Documentaries count as a peer-reviewed source. They can also be interviews with experts in the field. So an interview with an expert would also be considered a primary source. So they can be any combination of those things. But we're looking for 5 quality scholarly sources here to support how group dynamics are influencing how you've designed your campaign and how they're going to make your campaign better. How are you working with your group, and how are group dynamics perhaps going to play out in how you are disseminating or facilitating the campaign that you've created? And now the fun part, after you've figured out all of those steps, what research you're going to use, how are group dynamics going to help you get this campaign off the ground. We're living in fantasy land with this project. So, pretend like you have all the grant money in the world to make this happen. You don't have a grant budget with this assignment. So if you had all the money that you would need in a grant, and you have your research and you know who it is that you want to help target with this research, now you get to go out and design it and create it and have fun deciding what type of campaign this is going to be. How are you going to reach people, and how are people going to be influenced by what they've been exposed to in your campaign? And then you're going to share it on Moodle. And share it with me. I have it set up so that everyone in the group is going to submit the same group project to me. That way you don't have to rely on just one person to submit the work. And then you'll also be submitting that individual assignment, as I mentioned before. So let's take a look at some other students' work over the years to give you an idea of, again, how this type of work can be presented. It doesn't have to be in a term paper, it doesn't have to be, in Word format, although it can be if that's the format that you're choosing. But I've had students over the years do any combination of things to show their work on this project. So I've had students that will put together a PowerPoint. So maybe they have a campaign where they are envisioning that they're going to go into a school system. And so understanding the levels of hierarchy within a school system, thinking about all of those different roles of leadership that we've been talking about in the course, that for them it made sense to come up with a campaign that could be almost a package that could be delivered to a school. There could maybe be a presenter that would help train the administrators or teachers or teaching staff to be able to facilitate the program, and then they're left to do it on their own. So program with a PowerPoint here with some strategies and activities that they could engage children with. This was looking at younger children, preschool and kindergarten age children, and then they came up with a pledge for students to sign, almost like a contract. We know that that is one of those best practices. That's a really good way to get kids thinking, is if they sign something and have a contract. I've also had students that will put together flyers. So they are envisioning kind of a hybrid campaign where there's virtual components, but then there's also literature that is posted in public areas or within schools, public bathrooms, boys and girls clubs, rec centers, YMCAs, things like that. So they designed a series of print materials, brochures, pamphlets that can be distributed in various settings. And we know that there's good research to support that as well. And, you know, you have to think about how many times you've gotten a flyer and it'll end up in your purse, it'll end up in your car, in your book bag, and then you find it down the road and you look at it. So it is a good method. We know that people will carry those things around with them. They don't all end up in the trash can. And so for the people that do end up taking that literature home, it may be something that is looked at with a little bit more scrutiny later on. So just an example here of some flyers, poster ideas, public announcements that can be posted and shared in public areas, particularly, in schools or, waiting rooms, things like that, with some important hotlines and phone numbers. These are targeted towards individuals who may be victims of a victimizer. I've also had students that have come up with some really creative social media versions of these campaigns. So I've had Facebook groups that have been made, Instagram. I can't keep up with all of it. I'm getting to an age where I don't know. You guys are much smarter than me when it comes to this stuff. But I've had students put together all sorts of really great campaigns in social media, which can be a great way to reach a ton of people with relatively little effort, just posting videos and posting tips. And again, it could be even geared towards parents. So it could be a school that's putting something together to disseminate information to parents or to teenagers, to get them involved and posting and sharing their tips on, how do we combat this type of aggression? Because we know bullying is not just physical aggression, it's also emotional and relational aggression. And the bullying doesn't end at the end of the school day anymore. It also continues at home. So we know that cyberbullying, virtual bullying that continues after the school day is ended, continues well past when the bell rings to end the day. So we know that social media could be a very good way to reach people because we're constantly online. We live online now, so it's a way to reach more people. But there's also the benefit of having those targeted campaigns that are in particular settings as well. So there's a benefit to a variety of different forms of campaigns. But I just wanted to show you how these can look. That there's really there's no one right way to format this. So there's a lot of ways that you can do this, but I hope that you are creative. I hope this is a fun way for you to exercise some of the principles that you've learned this semester, and I'm really looking forward to reviewing these at the end of the term. Please let me know if you have any questions as you're finishing up the work on this. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great Turkey Day next week. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Despite what a crazy year this has been, we all still have a lot to be grateful for. So I hope that you're able to spend a nice week next week relaxing with family and friends, eating some good food, staying safe, staying healthy, and focusing and reflecting on what's important and the things that we have in our lives that we're grateful for, particularly the people that you have next to you in your life that you're grateful for. One last announcement, I'll be posting this on Moodle as well. I'm going to be moving the final exam date. It was supposed to be due next Sunday, but I know that's Thanksgiving week, and so you may be traveling or things like that. So I'm going to make it due Monday just to give you a little bit of wiggle room there. The course does end shortly after next week. It's next Friday. So, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of extra time to turn in that exam, since I know it is the holiday and that's probably the last thing we're trying to think about.